Welcome to Quick Tips for Ringing, a YouTube series presented by Alfred Handbell, a division of Jubilate Music Group. Episodes premiere on the 10th of each month and feature a topic of interest for directors and ringers, presented by well-known handbell clinicians, followed by a coordinating musical example. On the 20th of each month, supplemental music for the episode will be posted. Follow Jubilate Music Group on YouTube to be notified of each new release. You can also join Alfred Handbell on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Our music is available from jubilatemusic.com or your favorite retailer. Hi, I'm Sondra Tucker, editor for Alfred Handbell, and today it's my deep pleasure to introduce my good friend Bob Avant. Bob is director of Baylor Bronze from Baylor University in Waco, Texas, and he directs the Austin Handbell Ensemble. Bob is a terrific recording engineer, and he and AHE partner with Alfred Handbell twice a year to present our new demo recordings. Welcome, Bob.
Hi, Sondra. Thank you so much for that introduction. And thank you for the opportunity to contribute to this series by Jubilate Music Alfred Handbell. The topic that I've chosen is one that has not been covered beyond the obvious basics all that much. It is the singing bell technique. Of course, we're all familiar with making the sound, but what is going on? What is causing that sound to happen? And the answer is that we are using, in this case, that wood dowel to go around the perimeter to initiate some vibrations of the casting on the same amount of vibrations as if we were actually ringing the bell. Same vibrations are occurring. We just initiate it in a different way. Let's think about a violin string for a moment. As a violinist picks up their instrument, they have a couple of options to make a sound on it. One is to take a finger and pull on a string and then let it go. Pluck the string, in other words. And that is truly grab and release, and that causes the string to vibrate and make sound. The other main way, of course, is by using a bow and pulling a bow across the string. And what essentially is happening when that musician does that is that the bow is grabbing and releasing and grabbing and releasing and grabbing and releasing an unimaginable number of times per second as that bow is being pulled across. It's good to know that violinists know this fact, and when they receive a brand new bow from the factory, the very first thing they do is they get the rosin out and they rosin up the bow. That rosin is a sticky material that helps with that grab of the grab and release in order to make the sound happen. So it has to do with the material that is utilized to make the best quality sound, whether it's a violin or handbell. So let's look at the handbell now. What is the material that we make use of with a singing bell? Well, most people have chosen the wood dowel, which is appropriate. Just as an example, if it was glass, what would happen? If we had a glass stick and we tried the singing bell technique on it, what would happen is essentially nothing. No sound would occur other than scratchiness of one material rubbing on the other one. Why? Because the material, the glass, does not have enough grab in it. It has all the release, but no grab. So what if we used instead a complete opposite? What if we used like a very soft rubbery material, like a rubber band kind of touch or feel to it wrapped around the dowel and whatnot? So we try that. What would happen? Basically nothing. Why? Because we have so much grab involved that the vibrations cannot establish and maintain. So in that example, the opposite extreme is too much grab and not enough release. So what we need is some sort of material that offers just the right amount of grab and release. And again, in the violin example, hundreds of years of evolution of that have come down to the one main way that they know how to make that grab and release occur on a violin with a rosined bow. In the handbell world, this is such a new technique, we are still developing what that might look like. So currently, many ringers use a large wooden dowel. And but the problem is how much grab and release is determined by the type of wood or the type of finish of that wood. Oak and pine are common woods that people have tried and have made use of. But if you try oak or pine, they are very hard woods. And as you try this effort, it will work, but it takes a lot longer. Why? Because there's not as much grab and a heck of a lot of release. So we get a lot of that scratchy sound before the tone actually starts to settle in. Enough friction is there to cause it to vibrate. So I will say this though, that there are some other options. There's some exotic woods that are out there. There are dozens of different kinds of woods you could try. They all will have the same problem, however, with a mixture of grab and release that doesn't necessarily match our instrument, at least for the full range of the instrument. Of the common wood options that can be found at hardware stores, poplar, P-O-P-L-A-R wood, has shown to be a good choice, up to a point at least. That said, most wood options, including poplar, do not work equally well from the very lowest bell to the very highest bell. And the reason for that is that the size of the casting makes the difference as far as how soft it is or how easy it is for vibrations to occur. The larger the casting, actually it's easier to make the bell vibrate. The smaller the casting, the more rigid that structure is, and it's very difficult to establish through this kind of singing bell technique to establish a vibration to occur on a very small casting. And certainly one style does not work all the way through, at least currently that we have. So, in addition to finding the best material, there is also a performance technique that I will suggest to improve the consistency of the singing bell. Remember that what we are looking for is a balance of grab and release. Too much grab and we get a dulled sound or no sound, and too little grab and we get no sustain. So here is an example of using poplar wood stick. This is an A4, and as I would suggest as a technique, just I call it priming the bell. You just give it a very, very light tap that maybe only you can hear, but essentially you just started the bell to vibrate, and this will help establish as we go around. 3, 4, 5, 6. I counted how many revolutions it took before the singing bell went along. Let me do it one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Roughly 6 revolutions before it starts. So that is one solution. That's what the most popular, common solution is. And again, the problems with that include that it just takes a very long time for the singing bell sound to be established. If it's depending on the music, you may not have that much time before the next measures come or the tonality needs to change. And so you're constantly spinning around the casting and not getting the result that you need. In addition, the range, it just doesn't work as well on the very lowest compared to the very highest, if at all, on either end. Solution number 2. I've prepared this little dowel with a rubber type of material covering the end of the dowel itself. And so this rubber tipped should provide a little bit more grab. So here we go. Prime and go. 1, and that was it. I'll do it again. Prime. It was 1 revolution and it was singing. So this offers a nice quick response opportunity for doing sing bell technique. Knowing that we want to establish the sound quickly, and yet we want to hear the best quality there is, what I would suggest is use the dowel this way. Start on the rubber end, establish, and then transition to the wood part. It's nice and smooth sound all the way around, constantly, and if by chance it dies away a little bit and you want to reestablish, simply go back to the rubber, reestablish, transition again. This offers the ringer full control of the sound that is occurring on the instrument. So that's the key new thing I would like to suggest, which is mostly the technique combined with the rubber tip that we see here. Okay, those two things combine into a better control option that we have as a bonus. As a bonus. I have a few bells set out in front of me. This is a G3, and as I go around, it's easy to establish singing bell technique on using this one dowel. Same dowel. Let me go up to the A4. Again, 1 time around the block and it's already singing. Let's go to an E5. And again, once around the block and it's already singing. Okay, C6. And it's easy for me to establish the C6. For a contrast, here is just the wood. And honestly, it's not even going yet. So C6 is a range that it may not work. Yet with the rubber side, I'm going pretty well. Okay, well, that's interesting. Can I go higher? Here's an F6. Same technique. F6, singing bell. I want to try one more. B6, B6, very high up there. That's the pitch. So when we get this high, again, the casting being so small, it's going to take a lot of effort to make the edge of the bell, the lip of the bell, vibrate using a singing bell stick. So I'm going to give it a little bit of a boost, and this is part of the technique on the very highest bells. Instead of a prime and go, it'll be ring or strike and go immediately. And it's hard on the B6, I'll admit, but it'll work. That's a B6 singing bell. So, are there any pieces of music that call for singing bell in the 6s, range? No, because current technique doesn't allow that to happen. But if you have the right materials, it's there. I'll be curious to hear what may come out of this new way of doing the singing bell in that range. Perhaps there will be a new composer come out with a piece that will take advantage of that. So you may be wondering, how do I get one of these sticks? And I'll have to tell you, the only way to do this is to make it yourself. I don't think any manufacturers out there will take on this project. It's just not going to be cost effective for them. Profit margin is not going to be there. This is going to be a homemade project. So, how did I make this one? You can see how nice and clean edge that rubber is up there. Essentially what I did is I went to Home Depot and I bought a 36-inch length dowel. Happens to be, I believe this one is 1 1/8 inch. I do have another one. It's slightly larger, probably 1.5 inch. Anyway, both work really well up and down the table. So I cut it in lengths of about right at 10.5 inches. And that's enough room to grab at the top, have a material of rubber at the bottom, and have a material in the middle so that you can transition in and out of as well. So 10.5 inches overall. That clean edge I obtained by putting blue painter's tape around the stick and covered the area that I did not want to have rubber on. Okay, essentially is what I did with that. Then I use this particular kind of spray. This is called Plasti Dip spray. It's in local hardware stores in the spray paint section. Inexpensive. And so what you do, and I have some photos of this process I'll cut to while I'm talking, but what you will do is you will take a stick that you're ready to spray with that blue tape on it, take it outside, always outside, good ventilation, and spray from about 12 inches away, very lightly on that end of the stick, very lightly. This is the key. You can easily put too much of that rubber on it. In fact, your first effort would probably be too much. Again, too much rubber causes too much grab and the technique will just not work. So the amount that you put on here is very, very little. It's just barely enough to convince you that, yep, it's all black, rather than some sparse spots that are still showing wood through. Just barely covering it in black. Don't worry, if you get too much on it, after it dries, you can take a little sandpaper, very fine sandpaper, and sand some of that off and rescue the stick and put it into service that way. So that's pretty much it. You have to set this out and let it dry for about 4 hours before you try it, and then start using them. I will say that the rubber, because it's rubber and it's applied to a hard surface, the wood, that over time, as it's rubbing against the sharp edge of a casting on a handbell, it will tend to cut and break the rubber off. And after a good while, you may see more scratches on the black part than you want to see. Sand it down, re-tape it, go respray it, brand new stick for you, okay? So that's it. The summary again for making these is 10.5 inches poplar wood, blue painter's tape, and to protect the area you don't want covered, and then very light coat of the black spray from Plasti Dip. Other brands probably work. I've just stayed with that one. Let it dry, use. That's it. Okay, as far as the technique, the summary there again is prime the bell, go on the black. When it's established, transition to the wood, creates a great sound. Okay, I hope this has been helpful and interesting. Who knew all this was possible with knowledge about the singing bell and how it works and why it doesn't work in some cases. But I hope this has been helpful to you. Thank you again so much, and happy ringing.
Thanks, Bob, for that excellent demonstration. Now, sit back and listen to one of Alfred Handbell's newest releases that uses singing bell technique. Morning Has Broken is for 3 to 5 octave handbells, level 2. Thanks for watching Quick Tips for Ringing. Our videos are on our website, jubilatemusic.com. You can also find Jubilate Music Group on YouTube. And please do follow the Alfred Handbell page on Facebook. Our sheet music can be purchased from jubilatemusic.com or your favorite retailer. Thank you. Have a great day.